Good day, ma'am. My name is Danica Amolat from Bshm 2A, and for this video is I am going to report the chapter 12 in organizational management, which is the organization for office management and business research. So we have here the first slide, which is the office management and services. So office works constitutes an important segment of a modern enterprise. Office management is concerned with the direction and supervision of office work. Office work includes the recording of transaction as well as the results. Therefore, writing and answering letters, filing papers, typewriting, messenger work, computing, and related activities. Effective handling of office work is basic to efficient management. Office management is therefore basically concerned with the overall direction of clerical activities as distinguished from such as finance, manufacturing, sales, personnel, and purchasing. So the growing importance of office management is apparent in the big increases registered by office employees as compared to non-office employees. When it comes to office management, we're really talking about office efficiency and all the aspects that factor into the effective performance of office work. So moving on to the next slide, we have here who is responsible for office management and services. So the office management function may be specialized through the appointment of an office manager. If the company has an manager, he therefore will be responsible for the efficient execution of office management and services. The office manager must have a general knowledge of major part of the enterprise and a very intimate knowledge of some portions. He must solve problems involving practically every activity of the enterprise, and he must possess a genuine insight and ability in managerial work. So the manager may have an assistant to whom he assigns such as responsibility, but the basic command and control are vested in him. So in companies that have no office manager, the responsibility for the office management and services may be delegated to an administrative assistant. Assigning these responsibilities to various department heads of the enterprise has been experienced not effective. So sometimes office management is handled by the assistant secretary, the chief accountant, or some other executive. The controller is sometimes charged with more than accounts and is given supervision over office activities. So in banks, insurance companies, and financial institutions, the office manager may report directly to the president or to the major vice president. So office management is not only facilitating function, it is also an important center of coordination. The manager is a good executive and supervisor who is expert in clerical details and office procedures. At the same time, he must realize that records and all the things he deals with are only means to facilitate executive control and to promote the smooth functioning of the productive functions. Moving on to the next slide, we have here the importance of office work. So the importance of office work may be stated as follows. First, office work is a facilitating function, and it is the essential medium through which the various activities of an enterprise are fused together, and it is the lifeblood of any modern enterprise. And now the second one is the office services are the basis of the entire managerial activities of planning, coordinating, directing, and controlling. Facts and information are necessary for intelligent planning, and these data involve separate records, which in turn involves office tasks, and the integration of decision and action implied in coordination requires the exchange of information and structure, and adequate communication between member of managerial, and finally, all activities involve the full coordination of the office. And next, we have here the third one, the technical and individual work of practically every department of the enterprise is implemented by the office function. So, for instance, the credit department cannot operate successfully without the records of the creditors as to amounts and dates, due list of delinquent accounts, credit history of customers, and quantity of correspondence. And this gain emphasizes the importance of office work. So moving on to the next slide, we have here the office system. Office system is the term applied to way filing, making records, writing letters, computing, and so on. So office work is organized. And each office has each system of office system. And in a well-organized business is made up to carefully laid out routines or established ways of doing work. As a matter of fact, there is a routine for performing every kind of office work, and all office work must go through the established routines. Every similar piece of work must undergo similar process through the same steps in the same way, and its extent to which certain office function should be detailed in setting up a system, and an issue that frequently crops up centralized. What clerical activities should be centralized and what should be decentralized. So the advocates of centralization argue decentralization enables flexibility in the use of clerical personnel. And example of centralization would be a stenotyping pool instead of having separate typists and stenographers for each unit section, or supervisor in a firm. All types and stenographers would be concentrated in one pool under services given through the needs and existence. So centralization lessens the cost of supervision and enables line executives to pay greater attention to their specific task without worrying too much and about the office details. So moving on to the next slide, we have here the specialization is fostered. Production is a simple job like handling an agisograph machine or a memographing machine can be tremendously increased if the person handling it is a specialist and does not have to take dictation, type or file records at the same time. Training is also easier in a centralized office. Wage administration, incentive payments, and performance checks are also better effected. Specialization helps business maximize productivity. It involves using resources only to produce a single product, which increases the efficiency and effectivity of the business. And this increases profitability while helping minimize operational costs for businesses. Moving on to the next slide, we have here centralization. Centralization may, however, be overdone. The office manager may be so concerned with his department that he forgets his main job to facilitate the work of the other departments. Confidential matters may leak out. Irritating problems concerning minor changes and corrections is correspondence. Frequent consultation of certain records, priorities in handling of paperwork, and red tape may hamper operations. It is a job of top management to determine where centralization is good and to what extent it should be applied. Certain office work like mail reception of callers, messengerial services, duplicating services, filing, computing, record management, library services, routine correspondence, and communication should to certain extents be centralized. Example of centralization is it have all decisions coming from the same place. Centralized management is the organizational structure where a small handful of individuals make most of decision in a company. For example, a small family dinner owned by a married couple probably uses centralized management. Moving on to the next slide, we have here the record keeping. Records of purchases and sales of all activities, and the place where these records are made and kept is probably the most important work of the office. In large offices, these records are kept by the accounting officer at the same time that he is keeping track of all accounts on the money received, paid, or owned. The same department further handles the function of recording, tabulating, and reporting the results of all the transactions. The reports prepared show the past successes or failures and help to determine the future activities of the company. And in the conduct of business, there is always the existence of correspondence, letter received and letters sent out. In large offices, several persons may be assigned to handle correspondence, which, after having been answered, must be filed accordingly, and they must be easily located for reference. In record keeping, system is very important. Record must be simple to meet the test of simplicity. Records should be sufficient to meet requirements but no more. They should not exceed the requirements for which they are prepared, and records should be accurate. They should not contain errors, and records should be economical. In some instances, the cost of preparing and maintaining records may be more than the economy they were supposed to bring out. On to the next slide, we have here the office layout. Office layout, the job of the office management with respect to the office layout consists of determination of space requirements and their detailed utilization to provide practical arrangement of the physical factors. The arrangement of office equipment may be functional. Those all typing would be in one section, all mailing would be in another, and all records in a fixed place. Arrangement may be according to the flow of work, either the flow of papers or the flow of persons handling office activity. In the office is arranged according to the flow of work. The flow should be procedural, straight, and convenient. Environmental conditions such as light, temperature, and noise control may also determine the office layout. So moving on to the next slide, we have here the increasing use of office machines. The increasing use of office machines in office has enabled the solution of certain office managerial problems and the lowering of office costs. This means that those offices which previously used few machines in office management are now using more, while those offices that have always used machines are finding better or improved ways of using the machines already available. So for instance, typewriters and other machines have been electrified. Calculating and duplicating devices have been simplified and speeded up. Dictating and transcribing machines have been perfected and made easy to handle. Various accounting machines to produce necessary records in operations are widely used in a big business concerns. So the net results of the increasing use of office machines have been to increase the quantity and quality of the office performance. And moving on to the next slide, we have here the office services. As earlier stated, services are for the purpose of helping other departments of the business to facilitate their work to better advantage. Communication, for instance, is necessary between individuals, between departments, and with those outside of the company. So some of the facilitating office services that may be summarized are: first, we have here the handling of papers. So the handling of papers, incoming letters are received, opened, sorted, and distributed. Outgoing letters are folded, enclosed, and mailed. Mailing is an important service that is definitely facilitate communication. And the second one, the preparation of communication. So letters have to be dictated and transcribed, receiving dictation and is a service as it facilitates activity at and it may be an accomplished through machine dictation and transcription. And the third one, the centralized correspondence practice. So this is also a way of rendering office service since it facilitates communication by more adequate and promptly answering letters. And the fourth one is the conservation. So letters and papers must be preserved and they are sources of past and present information and guides in the future. Efficient filing is very essential in preserving these office products and facilitate the finding of the desired by the various department of the businesses. And fifth one is the procurement. So procurement, storing and distributing of office and forms and supplies, and these materials are needed to carry and facilitate the work of everyone in the office. And the sixth one is the maintenance of the first aid unit. So this is an office services because it is facilitates the taking care of accidents or sudden illness which may become serious if not attended to promptly. And the seventh one is the employee services. These services facilitates the effort of the employees more or less in their own behalf and may include an office library, office cafeteria, and other services mentioned in the chapter on organization of personnel. So we have here the next slide, which is the office management problems. So modern business is making greater and greater demands upon office work and services. So nowadays, with business operating in high speed, a well-managed office is recognized as an almost indispensable aid to effective management of business. On a large scale, scientific methods are being applied in the performance of office work in order to establish standards of output, quality, and pay. So, standardization of office work and office methods has made rapid strides. So, office activities have developed rapidly with the expansion of business. So there is a necessity for collecting information and for effective control through records, correspondence, and routines. And moving on to the next slide, we have here the function of accounting. So from the standpoint of office management, the main function of accounting is keeping the management informed about the operation of the whole businesses by collecting pertinent information and presenting the same to those who are responsible for the conduct of the business. So, subsidiary to the main function is the recording function. So, in this case, the accountant makes available for immediate or future reference the fact about businesses. So, the accounting department is one of the most important departments of every business, whether large or small, since accurate and up-to-date records of business transaction mean a sound basis for all the business judgment. And moving on to the next slide, we have here the office accounting organization. So in charge of accounting department is the chief accountant, who is responsible usually to the controller, the treasurer, or even the general manager. So the number of people in the accounting department depends of course upon the size of the company and the amount of business it does. So Robinson Business Organization and Practice shows a typical structural organization of an accounting department of a regular business concern. So we can see the different functional divisions such as physical facilitates, services and practices division, and office personnel division, and each division in turn is composed of different section or subsection, all carrying out the facilitating function of the accounting department of the whole business enterprise. Moving on to the next slide, we have here the records. The accounting department prepares records which shows how much money is received and paid out, who owe the company as well as those to whom the company is indebted and for how much. From the records, it could be determined how much business the company has made for this year and the corresponding costs, and so on. From these records, reports are prepared for the managed standstill or is going backward. Reports must be indicate the weak and strong spots so that steps could be taken to strengthen the former at once. The accounting department also prepares reports for the different department leads showing the individual performance of each department as well as the departmental costs, in which case the department head can watch the standing of their departments and check their progress. And we have here the last slide, the business research. So for business to succeed, its operation must be based on an accurate knowledge of facts. The decision of businessmen must, as far as is practicable, be based on facts and not on merely guess or beliefs as to what the facts may be. So this is the function of business research to methodically and scientifically ascertain all facts that may have been bearing on the business. So together with the business is the function of forecasting. Business is also premised on knowledge and that consumer desires and opinions are possible of approximating or estimating with reasonable certainty, and manufacturers want data on the market potential of their products. And what is the potential size of the market? Are any factors of geographical seasons, habits of consumers, competition, laws, and channel of distribution that must be considered. So research is also necessary in product development, in the formulation of marketing plans, in the choice of advertising and sales promotion, and the extent of capital investment. Business research is also availed of by investors who may want to help start a factory, a market firms, or other business establishment.